Good morning, folks. And it's a brisk, sorry about the hand, holding my iPhone for my little intro here. A little brisk in South Carolina this morning. Got a couple projects I'm working on, and I figured I'd take you along for the ride. So hop in. We'll do this.
I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something. Hey, I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something.
Alrighty. So, thanks for sticking around if you, or accidentally tripping over my page. I actually, in addition to my glasses being crooked on my face, I have to adjust those. Looks like my face is like tilted. I actually went and took some, sorry about the sun in your face, but it sure feels good on my back. I went to my storage and got some stuff, and I took part of it apart because I didn't know for sure if I was going to use it or we're going to use it as a plant stand or what. So let me flip this around. I'll pick you back up in a second. Okay, this kind of harkens back to a couple of videos ago where I was the other way, where I was sniveling about wanting I was trying to adjust the focus so it's smaller. Where I was wanting to do a mount for the antennas, but I didn't want holes and stuff drilled everywhere. And a couple of years ago, I had purchased some crossbars from somebody for I think a Forester, and I used those for years in the in my car, on my trailer for my kayaks. And eventually, I think they busted. And I still had those cross rails over in my storage. And I was kind of looking at them, and I'm like, oh, I wonder. So I looked at those, and I might have shown those to you. But it turns out those are the exact same shape of the rails right there. They fit right on there. So I've got the two pieces that connect to the rails across the ends, so I just didn't have the metal to go across them. And it's not a fully formed decision on what I'm going to do. I do know that I'm going to fix these, get new that, take these off and put some rubber or some pad leather, something beating up the rails, knocking the anodized finish off my roof rails, because that's the one thing that I want, is to not look like a geek, radio geek, would have antennas on his vehicle up until the point there's antennas on the vehicle, and then I can take them off when I'm going to take it through the car wash or whatever. So let's get right to the crux of the matter. So what I did, sunlight here, I suppose I could shoot it from the other side. What this was is some sort of a rail system. And there's 4 legs there, and then the 2 cross hoops, and then the 2 long rails. And then they had leveling screws, or still do, the feet on them, to adjust the height and balance the thing. They are metallic, I checked that, or the type of. So I checked the metal to make sure it was steel, so a magnet would stick to them. So what I'm thinking is I'll just cut one, or I don't know if I want to cut them both, in the center to get rid of those rusty screw holes. But they are threaded, so that may be useful. But I brought my angle grinder over, and here, it'll be like this. Let me show you. That would go in there like that. And again, this would get replaced, and I'd mount it on one side up on the car, or put these on the roof rail, and then measure the difference from like right here across the width of the roof, and then cut that down, and then either armor all this real good or spray paint it black and spray paint that black so it doesn't look like a horrid church. And then either get some expanded metal to go in between them, or to act as a ground, or like a ground plane, or just a flat piece of metal and screw it down so it'd be one piece. And theoretically, one would be here and here, and then the other one would be here. So it'd stay back there, and stay back here. One would mount here, and then one would mount here. Go across, and then the antennas could go up over that. And if I was feeling extra froggy, I suppose I could do it up here and here. So that's the whole theory. And then the coax would go out through that door opening, and no fuss, no muss, no leaks, no holes, no dents, no dings. And it's a removable mounting system and if I use mesh, or metal, which I'm gonna use, then I could screw the NMO or the regular antenna base right into that, and have the cable come up underneath it. Just wire tie it so it's, the cable goes underneath it into it. So it's, it doesn't look like your regular neck backyard crap show. And so that's that. As I move along in this process, I'll definitely keep you involved. It's obviously quite windy out. That's why I'm not on the kayak today. Wind gusts to 19 miles an hour in a kayak. It just didn't seem like a real good time, and it's like 56 degrees, so with water spray hitting you, it's too warm for an immersion, a dry suit. Way too warm for that. You die of heat prostration, especially because, of course, mine is all black, and by choice, and too cold to be out there in just shorts or whatever. So I just said, I'm gonna shine that. So I'm gonna pause this right here, and I'll jump back in when I've got some other stuff done. Okay, this is the next day, and I had an epiphany. And you have to forgive the mess. It is what it is. So I decided what I needed to do was to get my angle grinder, and having forgotten what size collet it was, I just kind of went by faith and got 4 cutoff discs. Well, I thought I had 4. And a flap, and maybe if I figured out how to zoom out, it would be helpful. Well, I've tried like 5 times to zoom out, so I'm gonna back up. So anyways, in the process, because ADD or ADHD, I'm at the gym this morning. I'm like, yeah, you know, I need to go to the store, and if I go to the store hungry, I'm gonna buy everything in the store. So what I do, I go to All Joy Donuts and have a couple donuts, and then I feel guilty like a cheating rat bastard. And because, you know, I'm trying to get in shape and, you know, do the right things, and those donuts aren't the right thing, and I'll probably have heartburn from hell. So at the gym, I said, you know what, I need to work on that. I've got so many projects going on. So I knew that I needed that. And I knew I brought those and my little Ryobi jigsaw. And I figured one of those two will cut those metal straps, which we have stacked up right here. Those are the metal rails. And these were the feet and the cross pieces to those. Those will have to go back over to my storage slash junkyard slash, oh my God. And I also wanted to knock the rust off of that awl. Now, I'm pointing straight at it over here, but it looks like I'm pointing at the lawnmower, the awl. And probably at some point, probably take that handle out, put a wooden handle in it. And I wanted to put a better edge on my alligator fighting knife and knock some rust off of that. That goes in my kayak. And I promise you, if that's my last mode of defense for alligator attacks, I'm going to have some problems, but I will defend myself. So I figured, hey, let me get this little belt sander. It's for sharpening stuff. And I've got a couple of axes, little ones that I want to use as like a meat cleaver. And then a little bigger one. And then I figured, hey, we could put an edge on that awl. But in thinking about it, I think you want the awl to be kind of blunt, like blunt force trauma, and just bash the crap out of stuff. So anyways, I don't want to put too sharp an edge on it, but I want to put an edge on this. And the other thing I was thinking is, hey, I know how I'm going to put my ham radio in my car without messing with this seat bolt. And that's where that plate right there comes in. I'm going to cut that upright piece off and sand it smooth, and or maybe just cut that piece off and put some paint just right there. Drill a hole in one of the corners and slide it under the front seat mat, floor mat. And then the arm will mount to that, and that will provide a stable base for it, so it won't go anywhere. And I don't have to unbolt the seat. I don't have to do anything but just frolic along. So let me get this mess kind of set up, and I'll add to this. So back out here in the blinding sun, those are the cross piece ends right there. So I'm gonna have to just mock one up, make sure it's the right one facing the right way. Probably put two of them on, and then measure the distance between them so that I can measure the piece of metal. And I'm kind of concerned because it looks like there's parts along the roof that the rails are further apart. So I need to come to a decision on if it's going to be here in the back and stay in the back, or do I need to make these with a couple of spots to make them wider, should I use them up in the front. But these are not going to be anything but for mounting antennas on. So let's sally forward. Okay, I propped up some, or I put the tape measure on some rags. Now, the one thing that I will say is that this is not going to be as quick disconnecty as I was hoping, because what's going to be required is that I have to completely remove that Allen bolt that's sticking up there and over there, and that'll completely remove the lower jaw, and then I just place it down and slide the jaw in. Up there, I could probably just loosen and let's see. I mean, that almost looks like the right place to actually mount that. Just to have it tucked back out of the way versus two of them in this area here. So, and the idea was to have one here and then one like right here, and then a metal plate mounted between them. We'll see. But for right now, this cross piece is just to put mag mount antennas on. The other thing would be to have a regular NMO or whatever the threading that goes on normal antennas when they're through bolted, hole cut through the ceiling. So, which we're not doing. So, and then I'm gonna have to do something with this off-colored, put some oil on it, or I heard that shoe leather dye works really good on that material to get it back dark. So anyways, let me, 35 inches is the number, and let me move along. Okay, well, oh, the joy of being me. I haven't played with any of these tools for so long. It's probably been 15 years since I actually did any of this stuff, so there's parts and pieces and stuff that I don't know where they're at, and it's just frustrating as all hell. So I'm sure none of you have ever been there. So this is what it looks like mocked up. Okay, that's what the two pieces cut. They're not fully flat, they're not mounted, they're not bolted down, they're not bolted together. You can see how that one's kind of hanging down a little bit. Obviously it's not bolted together, and they're not clamped down. And even just messing around a little bit, I seem to put little scuffs up here, and that's not what I want. So I'm gonna put some leather in the jaws, so when I actually do finally do this, it'll be a little better put together. And again, they're kind of off color, but the biggest thing is I need to buff them down with a sander and get them looking a little better. And I'll need to get some bolts to put through them and anchor them all together. And again, this is not to replace regular factory roof racks. This is not going to be load bearing. This is only with a metal piece of metal in between them, maybe even mesh in between them, to act as a ground plane to put mag mounts and roof mount ham radio antennas on there. But they're removable. That's the whole point. Must be removable with minimum impact to the vehicle. So I would say, you know, pending getting everything put together, I would have achieved that by itself. So, okay, let me get them back down and see if I can't get the, oh, so what I was saying about my life in tools, it appears that there is a clamping washer that goes in the jaws on the collet of that grinder. So the collet flips over for different size, I was going to say bore, grinding discs, but unfortunately it's still, the shaft is too long, and you need to have a washer or lock nut and a washer. I forget what the combination was that goes on there. So to tighten one of those bolting or one of those cut-off wheels on there, there needs to be spacers under here. Yeah, untwist that and down. So that's not, I can't use the cut-off wheel. So we're going to see exactly what we have to do to just bash that piece of metal off of there. And, you know, in the process, maybe piss off the neighbors. And, you know, that's always good times. Good times. Highly recommended. So let's get bashing. Okay, kids. So we're back. This is where we're at. I've cut them off to length, fitted them, made sure they fit right, they do. And I've marked them now. You know, that one says front right arrow, front left arrow, and then these are marked, and these are marked. The metal plate is ground flat, and so by and large the majority of this stuff can get put away, and we can get on with the next step of oh good God, it's my little collapsible footstool, step stool to get up on the roof without scratching up the paint. And I still have to cut pieces of leather to go inside the jaws of the devices, or the clamps, so I'm not mauling the roof rack. So Operation Cleanup commence. Sorry about that. So it's been a couple days, and well, I've done absolutely nothing on this project, but I did pick up at Walmart's. If you can't buy it at Walmart, you don't need it. This is so that you can use a regular propane bottle, you know, 5 pound, 10 pound, 50 pound, 100 pound bottle of gas in your regular grills and stuff like that. That's the adapter. And I did make it over to my storage and grab my yoga mat that I had procured to roll my kayak over on its side when I'm yanking it up out of the water, until I decided I just didn't care. You know, it's a tool. Use it as a tool. Don't misuse it, but use it as a tool. So that is going to get cut into the parts that would clamp on my overhead. So I'm back to the assembling the installation of the radio in my car, and there's the plate that I was working on before. I went over to Ace because Homey don't buy bolts from Home Depot or Depot, and believe it or not, that's some heavy duty high strength steel. And of course my drill bits were barely up to the task, so I had to bring out Big Gus, the Black & Decker metal wrecker, and knocked those two holes in it because I didn't know where exactly I wanted to mount it. Either further up under the dash, that'll be up against the center console, and the seat will be over here, and your feet. And it's been under the all-weather mats for, I don't know, the last week or whatever, and you couldn't tell that it was there, so yay, score. So again, I had to bring out Big Gus to knock holes in it. Got to clean it up a little bit. There's a bolt, and I will do that. One of the things that I would highly recommend is that if you're going to be chewing holes through steel in your driveway using a block as a stand to keep the bit from drilling into the concrete, I would get yourself a magnet. That's what this is, to pick up all the metal shavings. Because let me tell you something, not that I have any experience, but those things suck if you step on them barefoot. So I got them up off the ground. So I will use a scraper or a scraper shaped device and scrape all that crap off into the bin, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, like I said, a scraper shape. Big on. Okay, I brought it into my alternate work surface, and there's the radio, and that's about exactly how it'll set. This will have a floor mat over it. You won't even be able to see this plate, but you can see that it's fully strong enough. I mean, you could you could hang the Subaru off the side of this and it wouldn't tip over. So let me go back out to the car and hand sanitizer, gotta have them, and set this under the mat, and we'll go from there. Miracle-Gro. Maybe if I put Miracle-Gro on this little dual band HF or VHF radio, it'll turn into a HF. Maybe it'll turn into a Yaesu 818. Who knows? Okay, next along the process is these. These will go in here. And sorry about the camera angle, but doing this one-handed. So they'll go in there and protect the rails from being scratched up. And it's almost like a mullet, you know? Business from the front, party from the side, rear, whatever. So anyways, that's what those little pieces of yoga mat goodness are. And I wanted to show you okay, so the plate is under the mat, bolted down, and there's where it'll set, kind of bent. Now I put another hole on that end over there in case I just want to bend it that way, but I think with this S-curve that I put in it, that it should hold it a little bit more rigidly. And we'll see from the other side. Now, that's the angle it'll be when it's, well, that's the angle. There's a cigarette lighter adapter right there where that would plug into. And then of course the antenna is on this side and would run it down straight back under the seats. Probably out that door over there and up onto the roof rack to the cross members. So well, let's see what the little sucker looks like plugged in. Of course, I need 15 elbows to get in there. Oh, it's already got the cover off. Okay, so obviously that would be a little bit more smoothly installed, and I wouldn't be just jamming the wires in there. But for the moment, you get the point. Oh, I guess the car has to be on. How cool is that? So, there's no broadcasting without the car running to keep the batteries charged. That's a good thing. So, not a bad little deal. And of course, this will all be Velcroed. There will not be any of these mess and nastiness because I'm like allergic to that crap. And the microphone plugs in there. So, let's move along, shall we? Okay, it's the next day, and the metal I bought obviously is a little too narrow to go between the spread of the rear bars that are back there mounted. They're not mounted, but they're there. and this front one. So it's going to be a lot of, like this one right here, I'm pretty confident of its placement. As soon as I'm done mounting that, I'll put it back up on there and mark that one again. And as soon as I'm satisfied that they're both good, then I'll mark the rear one and take it down. And I'm gonna have to cut part of the lip. You can see it kind of curls around on each one. Cut that so it mounts and lays flat, and screw it together, and that third one will be right there in the center. And ideally it'd be for 3 different mag mounts: CB, VHF, UHF, and HF. So let me get this test fit into place, and we'll go from there. Okay, this is the semi-finished product. It's about to go into the spray booth. Oh, wait, it is in the spray booth. It's about to get painted. So that's that. These are individual pads that either NMO mounts or mag mounts could be put on and clamped to the roof rails. Okay, that's the first round in the paint booth, also known as the driveway. Looks kind of fuzzy, but I got to flip it over and paint the other side. Probably put another coat on it. Probably let it set for a day or two and set up before I try mounting it. I would really like to figure out a way, like a lever bolt, where you could screw it in and then just fold it over and lock it down, so it'd be easier to just unclip the whole assembly and just take it off. I don't see that as being possible at this juncture, but gee, it'd be nice. So yeah, that's Ace Rust Stop. There was no rust, but it had a coat of primer shot on it too. I opted to not show that, but you know, there's a lot of this stuff that I didn't show. And if I had a actual shop like I used to, this had been done a lot differently. But what it's for is to not get a factory set of rails for like $198 and destroy them doing this. I wasn't interested in that at all. I just wanted something that I could mount antennas on. I didn't want them marking up that. So this is kind of the best of both worlds. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll be up on top of the car. I'm surprised. I suppose if helicopters were looking at it, they might be able to see. And it may look a little wonky because the silver bolts aren't completely tight. I'll do that as soon as I get it up on the roof rail and get it finished fitted. So, but that's the news, weather, and sports, boys and girls, for right now. I'll be back. Okay. Well, there's a finished product. If you can't see it on the ass end of the car, then it's been done properly. Right there. I mean, when I'm all up on it, you can see it. But the idea was to be low profile, and I think I achieved that. So when I get some antennas and stuff, I will put them on there and it will be good to go. Okay, that's obviously not a mobile antenna, nor was it one that I would be using for that, but that is the idea behind all of this. I gotta tell you, that thing clamped down like no other. And then of course, you go to the drive, car wash, whatever, you just pull it and whatever other mag mounts that you got up there, or unscrew the antenna from the NMO base, whatever I'm doing, whichever way it's being mounted, and run her through the car wash, and there shouldn't be any issues. So I'm going to wrap up the video with this, and oh, one other thing. If you recall, the plate was with this mount. Yeah, let me pull this out. So basically I just rotated it 90 degrees. I like that a lot better. It's in a more natural bend. You can't even tell that that plate's under there, but it definitely does make the whole mount feel a lot more durable and less bouncy. The one thing that I am noticing is that radio gets sun, so I'm either going to have to start doing something, covering up the dash with a cover or something. I'm still not completely convinced I couldn't put it over on the driver's side. But I definitely don't want to have issues trying to get in and ingress the vehicle. So that's that for right now. As soon as I get the antennas that I'm looking for and a license for ham, this thing will get put into daily use. Thank you for watching.